Hi, my name is Anne and welcome to my channel Lilacs and Lilies. I have a question for you. Have you noticed that in English when we talk about going places, we usually use the preposition to? Sarah drives to the store on Mondays. You went to London for a month. We drove to his house yesterday. They moved to New York last year. I go to the pool every day. Usually when we're using this to, it's because we're trying to express the idea that we are going from point A to point B. And so to do that, we have to use that directional to. But what happens when we actually use something like home or here or there? We see examples like go home, come here, I need to get there quickly. We have these three different examples. There are many more, but I think that these three are ones that I notice a lot when we misuse the to when we actually don't need it in particular situations. When we look at these three, the reason why we're not using to is because we're actually in a way talking about the direction and not so much as where we're going to. When we talk about this, the fancy name for it is the adverb of place. We see examples of this when we are talking about a direction that we're going, and we don't need to use to in that sentence. We see some examples like, I'll go there after work. She needs to practice driving home. It'll take 3 hours to get here. If I'm talking to a friend right here, where I am. I go there every Sunday. So when we see these different uses, we see that we can actually use here and there and home because they're not actually locations. Think about something like, I'm going home. Do you know where my home is? If we're friends, maybe you do, and you know where I'm going. But if you don't, then you actually don't know to where I'm going. You just know that I'm going home and I know that direction. The same is for here or there. We see that here and there, it depends on the person, right? It depends on the perspective. And it does not tell us exactly where here is. If I say come here, you know that that means come in my direction, right? Come to where I am. And so we see that we don't use the to because in many ways we have that kind of direction location, right? That's not quite the same as go to your room. Megan goes to her apartment every night. They run to the beach in the afternoon. We see these are locations, right? The beach, an apartment. These are things that we know where we can actually put them in that particular place. And it would be the same if we wanted to change a sentence like, it'll take 3 hours to get there. When really there is actually in this sentence, it'll take 3 hours to get to Aiden's restaurant, right? We are defining what there is Aiden's restaurant. Since we have Aiden's restaurant, we have to put to Aiden's restaurant, right? To A to B, and not without the to is usually the direction, right? There. I have to point, right? There or here. So let's talk a little bit about home and maybe why it's different than house. So when we look at home, when I teach, I usually say home is a little bit more like home, right? And house is a little bit more like house, the physical place. We have this idea that home to me is more of the emotional idea of where I live. I can have a home in an apartment. I can have a home in a van. I can have my home in a house, in a mansion. There's all of these different locations that can be a home. So when we use home, it isn't exactly that too, because I'm just kind of going in the direction of where I live. And that's usually where I try to explain it to keep it as simple as we can, right? Home is home and house or apartment or something like that is this. And so when we have something like this, we have to go to that place. I go to my apartment after I work out. She goes to her parents' house every holiday. These are houses and locations. So do we ever do went to home or go to home or return to home? Nah, right? We need to add something there. We need to her home or to his home, to Johnny's home. If we can define whose home it is, we start to see that usage as a location, right? But when we use home by itself, we do not need any of it, right? We just have go home, run home, walk home, okay? So let's look at some of the different combinations and see if you can figure out which one is used correctly. I go to there on Sundays. Yeah, no way, right? No way. There, we never use to, right? Let's try another one. I went to house yesterday. Almost, right? Almost. But we remember we need that the house or a house or your house. We have to kind of define, right? Whose house is it or what house is it, right? But the two we do need. I went to her house yesterday. Yeah, there we go. She went to home after the party. She went to home after the party. Not really, right? We would do something like, she went home after the party. Good. Yeah, because we don't need that to there, right? She went home. She went to her house or to her apartment. That's okay. But when we do just home, I don't need that, right? She went home. So I hope that this was interesting and kind of was helpful, so we know that if we ever use house or apartment or place, right, we're going to use to. If we use something like home or here or there, we will not use to. So if you have any other questions, go ahead and put it down below. I would love to see some questions or some example sentences that we can look at together. I have some other videos here, I'll put them right here, about pronunciation or accent or a couple of others that could be kind of fun for you. I also do travel and sustainability videos, so if you want to check those out instead, please feel free. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you hopefully very soon. Bye, guys.